Hello, this is Stoics A to Zeno, and welcome to the Stoa. On today's Words of the Stoics, I want to talk about Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, in particular, Book 1. But rather than singling out a specific passage, I want to talk about how Marcus reflects on the positive attributes of his family, friends, and teachers, and how this shows us a practice that we can use in our everyday lives to help us better understand the world around us and potentially become more centered. Now with that, let's get to it. Now the first question is, have you ever read Marcus Aurelius' Meditations? And have you ever noticed anything different about Book 1? Something that's completely different than the rest of the books? Well, even if you haven't read it, let me read a couple lines and let's see if you can catch what I'm talking about. From my grandfather Verus, decency and mild temper. From what they say and what I remember of my natural father, integrity and manliness. From my mother, piety, generosity, and the avoidance of wrongdoing, and even the thought of it. Now there's more there, but I think this is enough. Did you catch it? So all of Book 1 is Marcus Aurelius talking about, I received from this person X. So what I mean by X is it's always some positive attribute. He's talking about what he learned or what he believes has influenced his character. So as somebody who studied philosophy, such as myself, when I started reading this, I thought, well, where's the philosophy? When am I going to get to the good stuff? Well, I may as well jump to another book. I thought, this is not very philosophical. Though I thought about it for a moment. And what is going on here? Why is this here? Well, one reason to remember is this is a journal that Marcus wrote over many years. If you ever write in a personal journal, this is basically the personal journal of a Roman emperor. Now, what is the practice, though? What can we get from this that we can use in our everyday lives? Now, well, there it is. So, what I'm trying to say is what Marcus is doing is something we can mimic. You don't necessarily have to write it down, but think about this. Think about all of the people around you in your life. Think about everyone you've met, every person that influences you. Now, we have social media, and Marcus Aurelius didn't. So maybe we can add some more things in. But, for example, from my grandfather, decency and mild temper. Now, think of all the list of people in your lives and write down, from this person, I have received or I have learned this positive thing. Now, I guess in some sense, we could talk about how we don't want to be like somebody. But I'm sure Marcus is aware of that. I don't think he believes, look at all the positive people in my lives. I'm sure not all of these people were always good. Well, I wouldn't say good, but I would imagine that some of these people weren't always nice to him at times, but still he's writing something positive about them. Some a little more than others, but what this does is it isn't really about the people necessarily. It's about us understanding what we have under our power and how we interpret the world. And so when he does this, it gives you an outline. You can start centering yourself and better understanding these people that influence you. Think of circle of influence. So we live our lives. We look a lot at social media now. But as we go along and live our lives, usually we have a small group or a circle of influence. People throughout our lives are close family and friends. Now, if we want to think about, from the Stoics' perspective, what impressions influence us? So the things we have under our power for the Stoics is our thoughts, our desires, our aversions. And so if we want to understand the things that affect us, of course, events, the world around us, but in particular, we are social creatures. So it's the social aspect. when we do this, and I remember even reading it myself, I felt more centered. Now, this is a practice that you have to practice and see if it works for you. But here in Marcus Aurelius' first book, we have an outline of something we can copy. You don't necessarily have to write it down, but throughout your day, maybe think of, even if you meet a person for 5 minutes, what positive thing have they showed me about themselves that maybe I have received that gift as well? So what I'm trying to show here is this is a way of reading philosophy that you can pull a practice out of this work and apply it in your everyday life right now to help you out. Now, my argument for doing this would be, is I don't see how it could harm. So you might not have the time, and so that's always a point in life. We can be busy, but Marcus doesn't like that excuse. Though we can be busy, and I'm sure he even used that excuse as well, and that's why he's writing about it. Though, what I would say is try it out. How do you do it? Well, let me summarize it again. Think of it this way. When you meet somebody, or even your family, your teachers, your friends, from this person, I have received X. So be it, I have learned how to be a decent person, how to be humble, how to read philosophy better, or understand it better. Now, then you can take this practice and go out in the world and do philosophy. Give it a try. And with that, this has been Words of the Stoics. And as always, for the good.